Welcome back for day 2 of Royal Ascot, everyone. Graham Cunningham for the Whirlpool, here with 2 friends and colleagues. Maddy Playle has gone for a lovely lilac and lime combination. Simon Mapletoft has chosen a nice black number. Surprise, surprise. Here we go with day 2. Maddy, if there's one horse, one story you're looking forward to on day 2, quickly, what is it?
I'm going to go for the 2-year-olds, Graham. Rogue Supremacy, in the closer. The Connections have sold one horse in the race, but they've retained another, and I fancy him.
Simon, you're going for a big price, I think.
I am indeed. The Hunt Cup, William Haggis has a progressive horse called Bullet Point. I think he'll take all the beating.
Okay, bullet points are what we need for race 1. It's 1,000 metres. It is the Queen Mary Stakes for 2-year-old fillies. Straight course. Blazing speed, a couple of points to note. Carl Burke, Yorkshire trainer, has had the winner of this race twice in the last 3 years. And here's one of my stats of the day, you two. Aidan O'Brien, your annual reminder, has never won the Queen Mary Stakes. Maybe he can put that right this year. Let's go down the card. I think a lot of the really interesting horses are loaded down on the bottom of the race card. Keep an eye on number 3, Cardiff by the Sea. She came up against a good one first time out and ran very well. Number 11, more on Lenny Lou in a moment, but great to have an American raider here. Impressive first time out for veteran French trainer Patrick Biancone. Further down, Revival Power was very green first time out, but she won, and she is related to a very, very good sprinter called Winter Power. Secret Hideaway sprung a big surprise at York, and then down towards the bottom of the card, Society Kiss. More on her in a moment. Emphatic win here at Ascot. Spicy Marg gambled on when she won at Newmarket. Stayer clocked a good time at Yarmouth. True Love has been beaten twice, but shown plenty of promise for that man Aidan. And down at the bottom, Zelena, who went into thousands of notebooks with a dominant success first time out at Nottingham. Maddy Playle, me and you are going to break down this American raider called Lenny Lou. If you don't know too much about Patrick Biancone, those who remember the 80s will remember Sagace. They'll remember a mighty filly called All Along. They'll remember Triptych. He had a colourful spell in Hong Kong. He's now in America. Lenny Lou looked pretty good first time out. What do you make of her?
Yeah, this was a good performance, and I like the way she pulled clear of her rivals in the closing stages. Often the international horses, we need them to stay the trip strongly, given the demands of Ascot isn't much like what they'd face at home. But it's hard to know what this form is worth. I think she's going to need a big step up.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think she has to improve. The time of that race was not that flash compared to another black-type race on the same card at Gulfstream. She got a win and you're in with a big travel allowance. Great to see her here, but this is a deep race. A horse who we know from Ascot form is a Rafe Beckett filly. Simon, what's her name and what's she got to recommend her?
Well, she's got lots to recommend her. She's called Society Kiss, and she won on debut in sparkling fashion here at the track. And this is just a bit of a guide. The time was really fast that day, 58.8 on fast ground. The Queen Mary was run on fast ground last year in a time of 59.6. So that just gives you a really interesting comparison as to the kind of figures this filly can produce.
Here's another piece of trivia. Her trainer, Rafe Beckett, top trainer, has never won a race at Royal Ascot that isn't a handicap. Does that bother you?
Not one little bit. I think she will run well. I'm not necessarily saying she'll win it. I do think that Zelena, as you say, Graham, went into so many notepads. Carl Burke, incredibly bullish about her. He's got a great record in the race. I do think she's the one to beat, but Society Kiss, I think, can really lay it down to that filly.
Simon sets us up perfectly for Zelena, Maddy. She cost a hell of a lot of money at the breeze up. She must have breezed like a very good filly. And she was dominant, and she represents the trainer, Carl Burke, who's won 2 of the last 3 renewals. And the other one, he saddled the 3rd place filly, so he knows exactly what's needed.
Yeah, and another for Watnan Racing, of course, who are going to be such a powerful outfit this week. For me, she was clearly very impressive, and they crucially didn't think that they were expecting that kind of performance. She'd had some hold-ups in training. I don't think she'd been the most straightforward, so you can mark her up on that. But the one I'm drawn to is Spicy Marg, Graham. You mentioned her earlier. She tops this field on adjusted Racing Post ratings, which is always interesting to me. I loved what she did at Newmarket when winning. She looked very straightforward, ran straight, went up the dip like a horse who had no problems, very uncomplicated. And she beat a good Godolphin horse who was the evens favourite. You don't get many bad Newmarket maidens I think she's a really strong fancy of mine on day 2, actually.
There are 35 races at Royal Ascot through the week. There are very few of those races which Aidan O'Brien hasn't won at least once, and often many, many times. Hasn't won the Queen Mary. Why do I think True Love might run really well? Because she's run very well in defeat twice. She came up against a real good filly, Lady Imam, first time out. That filly doesn't run at Royal Ascot. Would have been a strong fancy for this if she did. And she was beaten by a horse called Stad second time. She was a very short price and she got pounced on late. But I get the impression she's good enough to run well here. But that's a few of the main contenders analysed. Simon, if you will, your top 4 in the Queen Mary.
Well, it's got to be Zelena for me. She came from the breeze up. She's very professional and certainly made a big impression on debut. So number 25, Zelena for me. For the placings, no surprise, number 19, Society Kiss. I like True Love as well, number 23. And number 15, Revival Power. Green on debut for Tim Easterby will improve.
Yep, I've got one or two of those in my selections, but it's number 21, Spicy Marg. I think she's a strong fancy on Wednesday for the Michael Bell team. Followed by 3, Cardiff by the Sea. Great run behind Charles Darwin at Naas. That deserves a strong mention. Followed by 15, Revival Power. As Simon said, Thirsk Run was incredibly eye-catching. Great pedigree, half-sister to Winter Power. And finally, Society Kiss, number 19.
Haven't gone into too much detail on the draw here. I wonder whether high numbers might have an advantage. We'll touch on that again in other races on the straight course. But I'm with Aidan here. He's never won the Queen Mary, but True Love might be the one. 23, 25 Zelena, 3 Cardiff by the Sea, and 20. I don't like the draw in stall 2, but Solana Rose gives the impression she could run well at a big price. Good luck in the Queen Mary. 23, True Love for me in race 1. Race 2 on Wednesday at Royal Ascot is the Queen's Vase. It's a Group 2 race for 3-year-olds, and it's a race with a pretty storied history. It's just over 2,800 metres, a mile 6 furlongs. Aidan O'Brien has won this race 8 times, including with Illinois last year. Illinois, favourite for this year's Gold Cup. Stradivarius won it prior to his epic staying career. Leading Light and Estimate won it prior to their Gold Cups. I don't think there are any obvious Group 1 horses in this year's renewal, but time will tell. Let's have a look at the final declarations. Al Wasl Storm is on a retrieval mission after being well beaten in the Derby. Asmarani comes from France for the Graffard stable with a very, very progressive profile. Karmas represents Paddy Toomey, 2 from 2, and he grinds and he grinds. Number 4, Devil's Advocate, seemed to run well in a Dante Stakes, which hasn't worked out well. Further down the card, number 8, Rahib, is a guaranteed stayer. He loved this trip. Scandinavia and Shackleton are 2 pretty strong chances for Aidan O'Brien. Spinning Wheel is on the up, and Too Soon, well, he didn't shine first time out. Let's start, Simon Mapletoft, with the horse that you like. Paddy Toomey is scoring up better than 1 in 3 over an island, and that's hard to do when you're up against Aidan O'Brien, Joseph and company. Karmas doesn't look very quick, but he's unbeaten, and he stays and stays, I think.
Oh, he'll stay every yard. He's unbeaten in 2 starts. Mightily impressive in winning over the mile 5 at Navan last time. Forget the opposition. It was a dominant display. This horse on ratings, I think, is in the right place off a mark of 100 for a race like this. Beautifully related to Forever Together, the Oaks winner, City of Troy, also in the pedigree as well. So there's some class there. This horse rated 100, but open to plenty of improvement off that mark, and that makes him the winner for me.
And his trainer says he just does what he has to do, and that's evident when you watch his video replays, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a grinder, this horse, but I think that's probably what you need to win a race like this.
There's another horse you like at a fairly big price here.
Well, there is, and Spinning Wheel, who hasn't achieved anywhere near as much, but has certainly done really well in a couple of starts for the Crisford team. Did well to win under a penalty at Yarmouth last time out. This is a big step up in class, but I think this horse has shown all the right credentials, and again, I think will stay no problem. Will grind it out, and I think the fast ground should really suit.
Let's come to you, Maddy Playle, because Francis Graffard is developing a fantastic team in France. There's a really deep French raiding party here at Royal Ascot, and you like a horse, I think with good reason, called Asmarani.
Yeah, Francis, obviously, he'll be familiar to people in Hong Kong. He's bought plenty of horses over there and done done very well. I think he's one of the best trainers in the world at this stage, Graham. Asmarani, he's got some good form. He was second in the Group 3 pre-Hocker last time. And if you replayed that race back at the 2 furlong marker, you'd be shocked to say that he was second. That was over 1 mile and 3 furlongs. I think he's going to thrive over this increased distance. He's got a lovely, strong staying Aga Khan pedigree. And I think he's going to be underestimated a little bit. He just looks a hard-knocking, tough young horse, which is exactly what you want in this race. I found it hard to fathom, if I'm honest.
Would you be pleased if I told you that the horse who beat Asmarani last time out went on to win another group race at Longshore at the weekend? So that form has been polished. I'm with Simon here. I like Karma's. I don't think he's a particularly quick horse, and it might not look that smooth for a long way, but I think he'll gallop and gallop and gallop. I also like Maddy's horse, Asmarani. They're in my top 2. Simon, if you wrap up the Queen's Vase, I don't think we've got a superstar stay here. That doesn't matter. All we need is the winner.
We do, and that, I think, will be number 3, Karma's for the places. Number 2, Asmarani, like that horse as well. Number 9, Scandinavia, I think the pick of the Aidan O'Brien horses. And Spinning Wheel, number 11, I think he can certainly make the frame.
Let's hope for a French winner on day 2, Graham. Francis Graffer doesn't mess around with his royal runners, so it's number 2, Asmarani for me, followed by 10 for Aidan O'Brien, Shackleton, 3 Karmas for the reasons mentioned. And then you mentioned him as well, number 8, Rahib. I think he's going to relish this distance. Don't be surprised if he runs into the frame at a big price.
Yeah, pretty sure Paddy Toomey hasn't had a Royal Ascot winner yet. He's only had a handful of runners here. It's a matter of time. This is a super progressive trainer. Number 3, Karmas, he gets my top vote, but it's close between him and number 2, Asmarani. 10, Shackleton, up in trip and should suit for Aidan O'Brien, who's won this race so many times, and 8, Rahib. Good luck in the Queen's Vase. Let's get down to race 3, day 2 at Royal Ascot. It's a Group 2 race for fillies. Give or take a few yards, metres, it is the round mile, practically 1,600 metres, for the Duke of Cambridge Stakes for good quality fillies. Let's have a look at the race card. Top of the shop with a small penalty is Cinderella's Dream, who thrived in America last year, unlucky in the Breeders' Cup, and came back at Newmarket with a tremendous performance last time. Crimson Advocate won the Queen Mary Stakes here for America a couple of years ago. She's now with the Gosdens. El Malka hasn't won since that thrilling 1,000 guinea success last spring, but she has some good form. Likewise, Fallen Angel, Othello, classic winner in the Irish 1,000 last year. One Luck represents that man, Paddy Toomey, and she is in the form of her life. Running Lion was terrific, given a superb ride to win this race 12 months ago. Soprano, another Royal Ascot winner, big handicap success last year. You get the picture here. This is a stacked Group 2. Let's start at the top of the shop with Cinderella's Dream. As I said, Simon Mapletoft, she thrived in America last year. I thought she was a bit unlucky not to win at the Breeders' Cup. She came back over 1,800 metres in the Dahlia Stakes at Newmarket, and wow, she zipped clear. Yeah, she's a true international performer, this horse. She absolutely destroyed El Malka, of course, in the Dahlia Stakes. Over 4 lengths was the official winning margin. Dropping back in trip won't be a problem for a horse who's got a real turn of foot and a good high cruising speed. Yes, she's got the penalty, but I think on ratings, she's good enough to shoulder that. So she's the one they ought to be. Yeah, we both like Cinderella's Dream. She does have the penalty, but I think she's a little under the radar considering she did all that winning in America. Maddy, you like another filly in this race. Which one is it?
I do. I like One Look, Graham. Another for the Paddy Toomey team. She's not got the performances to suggest that she'll be up to winning a race of this class, but visually some of her wins have been absolutely staggering, and it was a career best last time, I would argue, when behind Porta Fortuna, the multiple excellent Group 1 winner, and you know, if she can keep improving on what she's doing, and I think she can, given that she's only 4, she's quite lightly raced, I think she's definitely going to be a Group 1 performer. Okay, let's roll with 3 videos, one after the other. Just give me a quick line on whether you like these fillies or whether you don't like these fillies. El Malka, Simon, I think has been found out because she doesn't have a proper Group 1 turn of foot. We pick her up in the Coronation Stakes this time last year. This is high quality form, but you can see her on the outside in the yellow colours, one paced, and that lack of a turn of foot keeps just finding her out. Yeah, it does. She's a pretty reliable sort of filly. She's
She travels well through her races, but I think you're right, Graham. I think in a nutshell, she just doesn't have that extra gear when she needs to find it.
Soprano came from way back to win a big handicap here. We're just going to have a look at that now. And she hasn't stood still in the meantime. She was only just behind Fallen Angel when they were third behind Porta Fortuna in the Matron Stakes at Leopardstown. She came back with a solid performance on the all-weather when she was ridden differently. So we know she can win from on the pace now.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Graham, she's elevated her rating since she won at this meeting last year. She's very straightforward tactically. I think Billy Locklane's able to do pretty much whatever he wants on her, and that will be a feather in his cap, but she does need to find on pure quality, I think.
Now let's take a look at last year's winner. I'll take this one. When she's good, she's very, very good. It's not all the time. Running Lion can throw in a plain run here and again, but have a look last year. I thought this was perhaps the winning ride of the week. Machine Murphy smuggled this filly across from a highish draw. He set the fractions to suit himself, quickened at the right time, and that was all she wrote as Running Lion came home a very solid winner. It's been mixed since, but a very good performance over 2,000 metres in a Group 1 on Arc Weekend. 5th of 5, well behind Cinderella's Song first time, was not great, but it was better at Haydock last time, and I suspect that the Gosdens have been holding on to these cheek pieces for ages, waiting to use them on Running Line. So all sorts of possibilities here. Fiercely competitive betting race. Break it down, Simon, please.
Yes, well, look, for me, Cinderella's Dream, a good international CV. I think she can extend that with victory here. So number 1, Cinderella's Dream for me. And for the places, number 5, One Look. I agree with Maddy. I think this horse has much more to offer still. Running Lion, hard to really keep her out of the frame, horse number 6. And number 4, Fallen Angel. I think she's gradually working her way back into form as well.
There's just untapped potential with One Look, Graham, and that's what I've been attracted to for the Paddy Toomey team. I think she's going to be a runner that people are going to get much more familiar with, and perhaps we'll have international options throughout the season as well. So she is on top for me, number 5, followed by, of course, Cinderella's Dream, the Group 1 winner. 4 and 6 are my other 2 selections.
This is tough. A couple of interesting points to note here. I'm leaving out 2 Group 1 winners from that top 4. One other little stat. It's not a killer stat. Charlie Appleby, Godolphin's main trainer, hasn't had a winner at Royal Ascot since 2022. Charlie, if you're watching this, it's time. Cinderella's Dream on top, number 1. I have a lot of respect for last year's winner, number 6, Running Lion. 7 and 5 as backup. This is a tremendous Duke of Cambridge Stakes. Welcome back to Royal Ascot. There aren't many races globally with a richer heritage than the Prince of Wales' Stakes. It's the feature on day 2. Race 4, round track, 2,000 metres, Dubai Millennium, Ouija Board, Rakti, Highland Reel, August Road and Bosra Sham, the mighty So You Think. What a race this is. And the 2025 renewal looks deep. Let's go down the race card. I think I'm right in saying no 7-year-old has ever won the Champion Stakes. Fortunately, Anmart doesn't know that, and he is in the form of his life. Continuous is a classic winner, but his main role here will be to make the pace for stablemate Los Angeles, who is not flashy, but by goodness, he's highly, highly efficient. Map of Stars comes from France with a very strongly progressive profile. Ombudsman looks on the up, and See the Fire down at the bottom was a revelation in Group 2 company at York last time, and her connections have shaken out the biscuit tin for a supplementary entry. Let's start with a trio of French races. Maddy Playle, I know you're a Map of Stars fan with good reason. This is a big, good-looking horse who seems to be getting better.
Yeah, he showed so much promise as a 3-year-old, Graham, and I have colleagues who fancied him for the Arc. I mean, that plan didn't work out, but I think the thing with him is he's really grown into his frame now. You mentioned he's a big horse, and he's just improving and showing what he can do. I think he's a totally different proposition this year, as we've seen.
What did you like about this Group 2 win?
The pre-Harcourt, I mean, it was just so straightforward. He totally outclassed a proper top-class rival in Horizon Dore. His acceleration is fantastic, and it's just a really strong stayer at the trip as well. He's run again since, of course, when he pushed Sozi very close in the Group 1 Prix d'Ispahan. That was an excellent run. Sozi is the outright favourite for the Arc at this stage, and I don't think that would have been Map of Stars' best trip.
It'll be slightly faster ground than he's used to. I don't think we can hold that against him for the moment.
I don't think so. I think, Francis Sunry Graffard, again, I'm with the French trainer. He knows that Royal Ascot is likely to be quick ground, and I don't think this is a problem. He's son of See the Stars, who, of course, acted on it very well.
Let's talk about Ombudsman. His rating of 117 leaves him with a bit to find. but he's won 4 from 5, Simon, and he's got one verdict over Map of Stars, admittedly an unlucky Map of Stars that day.
Well, yes, he was unlucky. We go back to Longchamp in September when Ombudsman took his unbeaten run to 4. This horse is a good, strong traveller, got a really high cruising speed, and again, just has that bit of killer speed when he needs it. It's slightly old form that we're seeing here, and it's fair to say that both horses have progressed since. We've heard all about Map of Stars and what he's gone on to achieve. But of course, Ombudsman lost that unbeaten record, Graham, in the Brigadier Gerard. But if you really take the nuts and bolts off that, it was still a career best performance, and I think there's still much more to come from him.
All sorts of possibilities here. Let's have a quick look at Factor Cheval. I don't think any of us will pick him on top, but he's been second in a couple of QE2s, straight mile here at Ascot, including to the best miler around last autumn, Sharin. He's been tried over longer trips these days. He ran pretty well in Dubai without threatening. That's a good look at Factor Cheval. I'm not sure he's going to be quite good enough, but let's see a key piece of form. This is the Champion Stakes. Same course, same distance, different ground last October. It was a messy race. There were various hard luck stories. Los Angeles, we'll see, beating a retreat. This came too quickly, perhaps, after a hard race in the Arc. See the Fire was slightly unlucky, had to wait for a run. But Anmart is the winner, and he finds plenty of trouble. He has to smuggle his way from inside to out, but he produces a striking turn of foot to win this race at a big price. Simon, I'm going to go from that to the Tattersall's Gold Cup when Anmart loomed up to challenge Los Angeles a few weeks ago at the Curragh. But Los Angeles wasn't for giving up, was he?
No, Anmart looked a real threat, didn't he, on that occasion? But Los Angeles just found that little bit more. I think we've only seen him twice so far this year, but he's looking already to be a better horse as a 4-year-old. His ratings suggest that. He's been nudged up officially a couple of pounds. But I think he really bossed it in the Tattersall's Gold Cup. He's got the measure of Anmart. I think he's got the measure of all of these.
My question about Los Angeles, is he quite quick enough? When the horses with acceleration come to call, this is a slightly shorter trip than the Curragh. It is slightly shorter straight. I think there might be a faster horse in the finish. What do you think?
I totally agree with you, Graham. And if you look at that finish last time, Anmart, I think he just put his head in front and then, having not run in such a long time, blew up in the closing stages. His trainer, Owen Burrows, is confident that he can reverse the form. And of course, the winner had the advantage of race fitness. So I'm with you.
I sense my partners don't have a lot of love for my selection here. I'm going to take a chance with the filly. Not many fillies win this, but See the Fire, who was slightly unlucky in that Champion Stakes we saw, she was tremendous last time in the Middleton Stakes. Yes, the fillies she beat were not of Group 1 standard, but she absolutely pulverised them. She's bred to be a high-quality filly. That was a big step forward. I think she might represent a bit of value. But if you will, Simon, wrap up the Prince of Wales Stakes. This is a cracker.
It's a cracker, and I'm really with Los Angeles here. I do think the stiff track, the stiff finish here will suit him. I think he'll respond well to that. For the placings, it's got to be Anmart. He's got to be there or thereabouts, horse number 1. Number 7, Ombudsman. We've talked about his chances. He's an improving horse. And I respect your fancy as well. Number 9, See the Fire. I can certainly see her in the frame.
For me, it's the new kid on the block, Graham, in number 6, Map of Stars. I don't think we've even scratched the surface with what this horse can achieve yet, and he will need to bring his A-game to beat number 1, Anmart, who can reverse that Tattersall's Gold Cup form with number 5, Los Angeles, followed by your selection, See the Fire, number 9.
Cannot wait for this, and it is See the Fire for me, a filly who, if she's as good as she looked at York last time, she'll give these boys all the trouble they can handle. 9 on top for me is See the Fire, 1 Anmart at the age of 7, 6 Map of Stars, and 5 Los Angeles. The Prince of Wales is the highlight on day 2, and it is a world-class race, however you slice it. Time to go handicapping. Race 5, day 2 of Royal Ascot. This is a brain burner. It is, of course, the Royal Hunt Cup, cherished handicap in the British calendar. It's the straight mile, 1,600 metres. It's a massive field and is all sorts of chances and possibly draw complications. Arabian Light heads the weights for William Buick and Charlie Appleby. Further down, number 5, Kirat, has some very strong Ascot form. Back to him shortly. Say Hello to My Little Friend. Number 12, Tony Montana, is very consistent. Number 14, The Liffey, has been one of the anti-post gambles of the week so far. I believe He was backed at 100-1 a couple of weeks ago. He's nothing like that price now. Popmaster is dead consistent and goes well here at Ascot. Bullet Point, Simon Mapletoft likes him with good reason. Further down, Fox Legacy made a very good start for Andrew Balding with a good Newmarket win. And look at number 27 there. My Cloud has a superb Ascot pedigree, and he has been prepped for this like a horse with a massive, massive chance. Let's get straight into the potential handicap block. This is number 27, My Cloud. Maddy Playle. He is related to a very good Ascot horse in Palace Pier. This handicap win at Ascot a couple of months ago was only off a mark of 80, but it was a thunderous win.
Oh, he couldn't have won any easier, could he, under Kaya Fraser, Graham? Just looked at total in a different league to the horses he was racing against, and he's backed that up with a nice win at Newbury as well, where he was probably racing on a part of the track that wasn't the place to be. This horse, you mentioned his pedigree, that relation to Palace Pier, who of course enjoyed some of his finest moments at this racecourse. I think there's so much in his favour. A mark of 95 could easily still be well within his grasp.
The draw might be handy as well.
Yes.
Draw very fine near the stand. Simon, we move on from My Cloud's Ascot win to his Newbury win. And I think he did well to win because I think he won against the pace bias that day. He quickened up well from a moderate position. The second and one or two more horses have polished that form. There aren't too many things not to like about My Cloud.
Oh, there aren't. And he looks perfectly laid out for a race like this. And, it's a real hallmark, isn't it, of a good horse, a well-handicapped horse, when they can get out of difficult situations like he did. I think he's up £5 for the win, but he's still left on a very, very tempting mark.
I can stay with you for Bullet Point, who has a very strong progressive profile, and he looked really good first time out this season at Newmarket, and he's been on layaway since from William Haggis.
Yeah, I like the look of this horse when I first saw him on the all-weather at Newcastle, but he's looked very good at Newmarket, and, I thought he bounced off that slightly better ground last time. I think the quick ground here at Ascot will suit him even better. He's got a progressive profile, this horse, and 97 looks a really attractive mark for a race of this nature.
The only thing I would say on him, Graham, is I was a little bit concerned about the draw. Does it bother you? He's in 2.
Yeah, low numbers. I'll be coming up with a couple on the low draws and a couple on the high draws just to edge my bets here. But again, we just spoke about good horses overcoming difficult situations. I'm hoping that it might not be too much of a tricky place to be.
Yeah, the draw can be a movable feast here. Just a quick line. He's first reserve at the moment. Bullet Point's stablemate Treasure Time. At this point, we don't know whether he'll get in. If he does, keep an eye on him. We'll move on from favourite My Cloud and Bullet Point to an Ascot regular. This is Kirat for Rafe Beckett. He's a hold-up horse who tends to come home strongly. Let's pick him up in 2 pieces of video. One is over 1,400 metres here at Ascot last October. He finishes a very good second, staying on well, with Bo Pedro doing what he does, running on well too late for third. So this is a horse with a strong Ascot profile. And this again, over 1,400 metres, take us through the Victoria Cup. Kirat comes home strongly again. He's beaten the Whisker with Popmaster in 4th. Maybe the mile is the key to Kirat.
Well, he certainly gave that impression on that occasion. What do we need for a race like this? We need a horse who really enjoys and thrives on the cut and thrust of a big field handicap. This horse does. We need a horse that ideally has course form as well. That's a real advantage. He runs this stiff track so well. And again, we talk about handicap ratings. Okay, he's up to 102, but I still think that's a mark that he can defy. He's a real player, this horse.
And I think Rafe Beckett's broken out some headgear for the first time, so that could be another piece of the puzzle. How have we missed it? I'm sure we've missed somebody, but is there another horse you have high on your shortlist?
A couple. You mentioned Fox Legacy briefly. I think he's going to run another huge race. He's up in the handicap, of course, but £6 rise shouldn't be insurmountable. And then also one for David Marnane, who won this race a couple of years ago with Settle for Bay. He's got a horse called Tokenomics, who won very cosily at Cork last time. I think he could be well handicapped too.
Right. I've got a couple to mention here. And My Cloud is the obvious one. Kirat is very obvious with the blinkers for the first time. Fox Legacy, Maddy's made the case for him and I like him. The Liffey, the price is way shorter than it was before. He's got headgear for the first time. Very lightly raced. Gone from the old O'Brien to the young O'Brien. Aidan to Joseph. So he's on my shortlist. It's numbers time, Simon. If we can find the Quinella here, I've sort of gone for the high numbers, taking a chance on the draw. But you like one drawn right over on the far side.
Well, I do, and I'm hoping there's going to be enough pace on there to really pull him into the race. So for me, it's number 9, Bullet Point. 27, My Cloud, has to be on the shortlist for reasons discussed. Number 5, Quirat, loves the track. I think he'll be there or thereabouts. And the one I'm going to throw in as well, from the low numbers, is High Royal for Kevin Ryan, who was placed in 2 guineas, of course, 2 years ago, and is now looking to be a fairly well-handicapped horse.
Yeah, I really liked Bullet Point, but the draws just shifted him down my order slightly. I'm going with the obvious one, number 27, My Cloud, on top. I just think he's got so much in his favour, followed by 23, 19 and 29.
If the high numbers aren't favoured here, I'm in a bit of trouble, but I think they might be in good shape. My Cloud, number 27, is drawn 32. 5, Quirat, is drawn 21. 23, Fox Legacy, is 11. And 14, the Liffey, is drawn 31. A lot of numbers there, but I'm hoping the one that matters, number 1, is My Cloud, number 27, in the Royal Hunt Cup. Race 6, Day 2, Royal Ascot, is the Kensington Palace Stakes. It is a handicap for older fillies. It's on the straight mile. It's a big field with potential draw complications. There have only been 4 runnings, I think. They've all been won by 4-year-olds. That might help us to a certain extent. Let's have a look down the card, and at the top, I think we're pretty stacked here. Rainbow's Edge for the King and Queen has looked really, really progressive and was good here first time, beating number 4, Arisaig, who is also very well suited by Ascot. Number 3, Arolla, is lightly raced, well-bred on the upgrade. Couple of interesting Irish contenders here. Number 8, Kehana. Number 12, Independent Expert, both fresh from really good runs. Serialize, another Irish raider, very good performance at the Curragh last time, and has a high draw. Any number of possibilities here, but the natural starting point is the handicap over course and distance for fillies that we saw here on Trials Day a few weeks ago. Rainbow's Edge gets the better for Arisaig as the pair draw clear. If you could both, please, starting with you, Maddy, your opinions on how strong a guide this race might be to Wednesday's race.
Yeah, I think this is really strong, Graham. I've been a bit contradictory and put a different horse on top, but there wasn't much in it. I think Rainbow's Edge, just the way that she's been shaping, is that she's developing all the time. And this was quite a cosy win over Arisaig. She's a brave filly with some good back form to her name. So I think we can rely on this to be a key informant of this Kensington Palace Stakes.
You like this Royal filly, I think, Simon?
I think we will have a royal winner in this race. What I liked about that filly's handicap performance, Graham, was it was a first run for 8 months, so she was entitled to be a little bit ring rusty, but I really liked her attitude. She had to squeeze through a gap to come and win the race, and she did it in pretty game style, and the horse she beat, Arisaig, had the benefit of a couple of previous runs.
I like both fillies. What I liked about Rainbow's Edge was she ran really well at Salisbury late last summer. That was 1.25 miles, and she took a bit of time to find top gear. Back at a mile, she was much smoother. So she's definitely on the upgrade. She's only had 4 runs. But I will put in a good word for Arisaig, who is a confirmed hold-up filly. She finished 8th in this race in 2024, but she did well because she was on the far side group who weren't favoured that day. I like the fact that Jamie Spencer is back on board. So that's the video we've drilled down into, and I think we all think it must be a key galloping clue. Maddy, you've chosen a different filly.
I have, and you can see me moving my sheet across, and that's because this filly's right at the bottom of the weights, and that's Sky Safari. Saffie Osborne's been booked, and I'm sure that's because not many jockeys would be able to go down to the weight. But this is for a trainer in James Fanshawe, who we know brings his stock along slowly. She's got some really good form. She won at Kempton and then was second at Salisbury last time behind a good horse called Cogitate. She's got a mark of just 84. I think she's definitely going to improve on that and definitely could perform well. A little bit concerned about the inside draw, but I'm going to just stick with her for the time being.
Simon, wrap up this big handicap for us, please.
Yes, for me, Rainbow's Edge. Arisaig does have a £2 pull for 3/4 of a length, but I think there's so much more to come from Rainbow's Edge, who was making her seasonal reappearance that day. So for me, she's the winner. I certainly respect Sky Safari's chances, although she's up £8 for the last win. I think she's progressive. Number 18. Number 4, Arisaig, has to be surely in the mix on that Rainbow's Edge form. And number 3, Arolla, looks to be improving as well to make the frame.
Yeah, I think that Ascot form here is going to be key, but I just thought I'd try and show something that punters might have missed in picking number 18, Sky Safari, for the James Fanshawe team. Totally unexposed filly. I think the best is yet to come from her, followed by 1, 4 and 16.
This is a different race on a different day, but it is worth noting that this race last year was dominated by horses drawn 21, 20, 5 and 16. But this is a different race. Ariseg is drawn low. Jamie Spencer will be taking things very patiently on number 4, Ariseg, and I think she can run well at a fair price. Her own old rival, number 1, Rainbow's Edge, is potentially the class in the field. 17 Serialize and 3 Arolla. It's a tough one for the Kensington Palace. Hope you've enjoyed the Whirlpool previews for Day 2 of Royal Ascot 2025. We finish off on Wednesday, and this is a last chance to see the Windsor Castle Stakes in its current form. It's always been 1,000 metres for 2-year-olds. From next year, it will be 1,200 metres with some stipulations on the stallions who qualify. So this is the last Windsor Castle over the flying 5 furlongs. Loads of runners. Let's go down the card. Number 6, Dickensian, is a horse I could see running well at a big price. Number 10, Havana Hurricane. I know Simon has a fancy for him. 11, Jan Steen comes back to 1,000 metres after a really good run at York. Further down the card, we're going to see video of number 16, Old is Gold, and he looks potentially pretty useful. But down the bottom of this card, we have some very, very strong fancies. A couple of rogues here at Royal Ascot. Nothing new there, you might say. 17, Rogue Legend, and 18, Rogue Supremacy. Both have plenty of potential. And number 22 didn't win at York, utmost respect, but he endured a nightmare passage, and he's capable of way better than that. Let's have a look at Old is Gold, Maddy Playle. First time out at Ascot in what looked a pretty strong race. He showed ample promise here and went on from Ascot and made no mistake at Beverley.
Yeah, there were high expectations for him, Graham, very highly regarded by his team. On the face of it, I thought, in a way, this could have almost been considered disappointing, but you have to remember it was his first start, so he's bound to come on for it, and he did do just that at Beverley. But that's good form, nevertheless. The Godolphin horse who won is clearly capable of a high standard.
Yeah, temperament is an interesting thing in young immature horses, as you know, Simon. P.J. McDonald rode Old is Gold at Beverley and said the occasion will not bother him in the slightest. In fact, he'd probably drive the box to Ascot.
He's a lovely horse. He powered up the hill at the Westwood, didn't he? Really finished well. I think it's a good race. I think it looks fairly solid form. And, of course, really enhanced what I thought was an encouraging start here at this track as well.
I'm going to make my case here for an Irish horse. It's Paddy Toomey. We've talked about him multiple times today. This is Rogue Legend. Paddy has a tremendous strike rate. This horse was beaten first time, but he's made no mistake in 2 runs in Ireland. Went hot favourite at Cork and Tipperary. And at Tipperary last time, he gave plenty of weight to some well above average horses, and he laughed at them. So I think that form alone gives him a very significant chance here. He's bound to be a leading fancy, and he's top of my shortlist. But we'll have differences of opinion here. I know we're going rogue, Maddy, but in different ways here. You like a different rogue.
Yes, we are really interesting this in that the Rogues Gallery owned one horse and have sold him. They also have another horse in the race, Rogue Supremacy, who is my fancy. This is a really strong fancy for me on Wednesday. The style of his Weatherby win, they went quite a slow pace, so you could say that's not representative of everything that he can do. But he absolutely bolted up. He sprinted clear of a very good horse called Vlad, who was second to the Chesham odds-on favourite Trenmore at Newmarket. So that looks decent form from what we do know. This horse, he's just got so much scope for improvement. I think he's got all the raw pace you need for this race. And I think he's going to be underestimated in the market. Maybe the Rogues have made the right choice.
High draws have dominated this race in the last couple of years, Simon. If you would, give us your main choice and your second, third and fourth, if you will.
Well, my main choice is Havana Hurricane, who has got a slightly low draw in stall 8, but this horse is certainly versatile, if nothing else, winning on debut at Goodwood and then finishing a really good second in the Woodcut at Epsom. I think the drop back in trip to a stiff 5 furlongs is very much in his favour. Trained, of course, by Eve Johnson-Houghton, who won this race
Chipotle
4 years ago with Chipotle. So she knows how to win. She knows what it takes to win a race like this. So number 10, Havana Hurricane for me for the placers. 16 Old is Gold, 17 Road Legend, of course, and number 19 Shaman Champion for Richard Hughes could go on.
It's Supremacy over Legend for me of the Rogues, Graham. 18 Rogue Supremacy, that Weatherby win. I think you can mark it up considerably. I see Simon's angle with Havana Hurricane. That was a good run last time, and his Goodwood forms worked out strongly. I'm going to add in 2 and 13.
I fear this Savannah Hurricane. I'm sort of kicking myself. I didn't put him in my numbers, but I didn't. I'm not crazy about the draw for Rogue Legend. He's number 17, drawn 6, but I think he has the potential to put up a special performance here. He's on top from 22, Utmost Respect. Richard Farr, he wouldn't run this horse if he didn't think he was well above average, and he got knocked all over the place first time at York and still came home powerfully. He's number 22. 11, Jan Steen, looked like a horse ready for a step back to 1,200 metres last time. 16, Old is Gold, and an honourable mention for Dickensian. That is a wrap for Whirlpool Day 2 at Royal Ascot. The very best of luck in the last ever Windsor Castle run over 1,000 metres.